Second.
Motion by James, second by Evan, to read resolutions and ordinances by title only. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Danny.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Okay, now, before we begin our old business, we got a lot of discussion. We have 4 old business items and 16 new business items. We've got Matthew Hood, my moderator, looking at Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So who's ever out there listening, if you have a question, please ask. And then Matthew will let me know what the question may be.
Yes, we're still getting the Facebook Live going right now, but YouTube is up and running.
Each item as well, when there's council input, I'll have council input, and afterwards we'll have community input. And then Zoom participation, those that are participating via Zoom, when it's your turn to talk, I understand the black screen, if you can talk and put your screen in person. When it's your turn, I appreciate it so the people in the audience can see you as well. So without further ado, Tammy, ordinance number 21 of 2020.
Number 21 of 2020, an ordinance to set millage tax rates to be collected in 2021 for the city of Cabot and for other purposes. Third reading.
Make a motion to adopt 2020. 21 of 2020. Yes. Yes. Second.
People on YouTube are having problems here. Everyone, they need to talk directly to the lines. Maybe we can.
Yeah, text me.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, we just had a motion and a second. We call the roll call vote. Okay, any discussion from council? Seeing none, any from the audience? Any from Facebook, YouTube? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of adopting ordinance number 19 of 2020, say yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Bivens,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes. Okay, Adam Whitlow got with me today and asked for the mercy clause on this one. Lord, would you like back to state. Is he on the call? Adam,
I'm
are you
here.
there? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead and let the council know why you like the emergency clause, please, sir.
Sure. Well, being that we are this late in the year, they are desperate to get started with some construction this year. We have a little window here of dry weather. We hope that stays with us. So we just ask that you move on with this with the emergency clause so that we can close on this property and get started on construction.
Questions for Adam?
Make a motion to adopt emergency clause.
I got a motion from Ed, a second from Damon to adopt the emergency clause of ordinance number 19 of 2020. Any discussion?
What are the ramifications if we don't pass this?
Adam?
Well, it'd be 30 days before the ordinance is in effect, and so that would push the closing out 30 days, which would put them in another extension on their contract. Not a deal killer, but we've already done 2 extensions on this. But the weather's unpredictable. This time of year, we're on borrowed weather. These people have waited patiently for the 3 readings, and so we would really love to move forward. I think this has been relatively an uneventful rezone. I don't think we've heard any additional impact at all from adjacent property owners, and I think coming up we've even got a new rezone on a adjoining piece of property. So I just feel like this would be in everybody's best interest to be able to move forward on this.
Issues, public comment, anything? Ed, Laura said none. Ed, Kevin.
Okay.
Any other questions by council? Any questions by the public? Seeing none, all in favor of the adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 19 of 2020, say yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
6-1.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next item, ordinance number 24 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
Ordinance transferring administration of retirement coverage for eligible members of the Cabot Fire Relief and Pension Fund to the Arkansas Local Police and Fire Retirement System, LOCFI, and authorizing the mayor to enter into an irrevocable agreement with LOCFI. Second reading.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
since this is just simply housekeeping stuff for us, and all the parties have agreed to it, correct? Okay. I make a motion we suspend 3rd reading.
Second.
I got a motion from Ed, a second from Matt to suspend the 3rd readings of ordinance number 24 of 2020. Any discussion? Seeing none by council, anyone from the public, from the audience, from Facebook, YouTube? Seeing none, all in favor of suspending the 3rd reading of number 24, 2020, say yes. Roll call vote, please. Tammy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Passes 7-0. You're okay with waiting 30 days, aren't you, Ed?
I just soon go ahead and get it off the books. If that's, again, all parties have agreed to it. So I'm going to make a motion to adopt emergency clause.
Do we not need to vote the ordinance first?
Oh, yeah.
We got to adopt it first. Yeah.
We got to do the
Make
ordinance.
a
Yeah, we gotta
motion
adopt it
to
first.
ordinance.
I motion to adopt ordinance 2420.
We got a motion by Kevin to adopt ordinance 24 of 20, seconded by Damon Bivens. Any further discussion?
Kevin, back away from the microphone.
You're kind of loud, Kevin. Anyway,
Okay, I'll tone down a little bit.
all right. Anyone from the public? Seeing none. All in favor of adoption of ordinance number 24 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Passes 7-0.
I renew my motion to adopt the emergency clause.
Okay, we have a motion by Ed, a second by Damon, to adopt the emergency clause of ordinance number 24 of 2020. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience? Seeing none, signify by saying yes. If you accept, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Passes 7-0. Okay, next item is ordinance number 26 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
Creating, certifying, and confirming tax liens against real properties at various locations within the city of Cabot for funds expended to pay for services rendered due to code violations and for other purposes. Second reading.
Board, do we need any action? Staff doesn't need any action. Everybody okay to continue and do the third reading next month?
I am.
Seems like everybody's in agreement. I'll go to new business if everyone's okay with old business. Is everyone okay? All right, we're now entering city council new business. Tammy, ordinance number 27 of 2020, please.
Number 27 of 2020, an ordinance creating, certifying, and confirming tax liens against real properties at various locations within the city of Cabot for funds expended to pay for services rendered due to code violations and for other purposes. First reading.
Do we need any action, Laura? No. Okay. Council, do you want to propose any action? Seeing none, ordinance number 28 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
Number 28 of 2020, an ordinance to approve an agreement with Dugan Asphalt Paving Company for the Burns Drive Milling and Overlay Project, to waive competitive bidding, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. First reading.
Make a motion to suspend second, third reading on that because of weather.
Got a motion by Ed, a second by James, to suspend second and third reading of ordinance number 28 of 2020. Up for discussion.
Did I see Joe?
Joe's here. Any questions for Joe?
Yeah, I'm sorry, waiving the competitive bidding. Where's Joe?
We waived the competitive biddings because we only had one bidder. Is that not right on this one?
Didn't have any bid.
Oh, 0. That's right. That's right. And you discussed this via agenda session 2 weeks ago. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone from the audience? Looks like no one from the audience. All in favor of suspending the second and third reading of ordinance number 28 of 2020? Signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Make a motion, we adopt.
Got a motion from Ed, a second from Damon to adopt ordinance number 28 of 2020. Any discussion? Seeing none, anyone from the public? Moderator, anyone? Okay, seeing no discussion, all in favor of adoption of ordinance number 28 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Joe, do you need the mercy clause? Yes, and I think it's stated in there, but yes.
And
course.
I'll make that motion that we adopt the emergency clause. That this fits.
Okay.
This fits the definition of emergency clause.
I got a motion from Doug. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to pick James. I heard his voice first, even though we had several. Any discussion? All in favor of waiving the emergency clause, or adopting the emergency clause for ordinance number 28 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Okay, the next item is ordinance number 29 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
20, an ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory referred to as Heritage Meadows to the city of Cabot, Arkansas, and making that territory part of the city of Cabot, Arkansas, assigning the annexed property to a ward, zoning the annexed property, and for other purposes. First reading.
Okay, on this one, we're asking for the second and third to be waived for this annexation because this is 100% developer property. And there are different contracts that they want to get signed, and we want to make sure that they're in the city of Cabot. That was their wish to be in there. They've been released by the county. And per being, since it's 100% developer, we can waive the second and third.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion, James, a second from Doug to waive the second and third reading of ordinance number 29 of 2020. Any discussion? Any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. We have a motion to adopt ordinance number 29 of 2020 from James Reed.
Second.
We got a second from Doug Warner. Any discussion?
I had a question for
Go ahead.
Chief Boswell.
Go ahead.
In the Planning Commission minutes, it mentions completion of the entire street. Have they made any progress on that to your satisfaction? They're putting an turnaround for apparatus?
They're putting a fire turnaround apparatus in the middle of the street. Correct? Okay, I got you. For safety precautions.
That was it.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor of adoption of ordinance number 29 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Yes, and they need the emergency clause if they could.
Make a motion, we adopt the emergency clause.
We can't? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do that, Ed. On the
Okay,
developer property,
annexation, yeah.
I thought we could do both, but we can't. Okay.
Yeah, it's annexation.
All right, I got you. All right, thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Next item, resolution number 36 of 2020.
Motion to adopt resolution 36 of 2020.
Second.
I got a motion from Doug, a second from James to adopt resolution number 36 of 2020. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Tammy, for adoption of resolution number 36 of 2020. Signify by saying yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item, Tammy, ordinance number 30 of 2020.
Article 4 of the Unified Development Code to declare an emergency and for other purposes. First reading.
Lord, do you need action? You need what? Please approach.
With these next three ordinances, I'm asking for the second and third readings to be waived, and the emergency clause is declaring an emergency in the ordinances. These are codes that are changing that we'd like to get in effect immediately so that we can start enforcing them.
Okay. Any questions to Laura, council?
Yeah, Laura, if I may, you said emergency clause also?
Yes, they're in the ordinances.
Okay, health, safety, welfare, can you just, how to either just give me a reason, how these are,
Give a
these,
reason. Health, safety, welfare.
Well, we'd like to start enacting these codes as quickly as we can, so that way,
For the benefit of the
for the
public.
benefit of all of our residents, they can be everybody on the same page.
Motion to waive second and third reading of ordinance. Do it one at a time.
Yes, sir. Of course. I got a motion from James, a second from Damon, to suspend the readings of the second and third reading of ordinance number 30 of 2020. Further discussion? Seeing none by council, anyone from the public? Seeing none, all in favor of suspending the second and third reading of ordinance number 30 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Reed,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 30 of 2020.
second.
I got a motion from James Reed, a second from Doug Warner, to adopt ordinance number 30 of 2020. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience? Seeing none, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Vivens,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
A motion to adopt the emergency clause as a matter of welfare.
I got a motion from Doug, to adopt the emergency clause, seconded by Damon for a matter of welfare. Any discussion? Seeing none by council, anyone from the public? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the emergency clause for ordinance number 30 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Wayman.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Warner.
Yes.
Yes.
Reed.
No.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. Next item, ordinance number 31 of 2020, please, Tammy.
Of 2020, an ordinance to amend Article 5 of the Unified Development Code to declare an emergency and for other purposes. First reading.
Same thing, Laura?
Yes,
Awesome.
same thing.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to waive second and third readings.
A second.
We got a motion from Doug, a second by Damon, to waive second and third readings of ordinance number 31 of 2020. Any discussion? Anyone from the public? Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
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 Long.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Make a motion, we adopt ordinance 31 of 2020.
Second.
Got a motion from James, a second from Braun, to adopt ordinance number 31 of 2020. Any discussion? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Passes 7-0.
And I'll go ahead and, for the same reason, because there's drainage and stuff here, motion to adopt emergency clause as a matter of welfare.
I got a motion by Doug, seconded by Damon, to adopt the emergency clause for ordinance number 31 of 2020 for a matter of welfare. Any council discussion? Any public discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Tammy, for adoption.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Passes 6-1. Next item, ordinance number 32 of 2020, please, Tammy.
Ordinance number 32 of 2020, an ordinance to amend Article 6 of the Unified Development Code to declare an emergency and for other purposes. First reading.
Repeat it the same,
Please.
please.
I'll make the motion to waive second and third reading.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Doug, seconded by James, to waive the second and third reading. Any discussion by council? Any by the audience? All in favor of waiving the second, third reading of ordinance number 32 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Passes 6-1.
And I'll go ahead and make the motion for the emergency clause. Same reason.
Adopt the ordinance first.
Adopt it.
Oh, good idea. Let's make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Okay.
Second.
Got a second from Matt. Motion by Doug, second from Matt Weber to adopt ordinance number 32 of 2020. Any discussion by council? Anybody in the audience? Moderator, I'm just assuming you don't have anything unless you yell out. Okay. All right, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Warner,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Wayman. Yes. Long,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Now, seeing as how we've passed the ordinance there, Mayor,
Yes.
and because this too has drainage in it, I'll make the motion to adopt the emergency clause.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion from Doug, a second by Matt, to adopt the emergency clause of number 32 of 2020, based on welfare? Doug, welfare? Okay. Based on welfare. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience? See none, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. Okay, this next item, I've got to officially, per legal, I've got to say we're opening up a public hearing for resolution number 37 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
Resolution declaring the structure located at 316 South First Street in the city of Cabot to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structure, providing a period of time for the property owners to abate said nuisance and for other purposes.
Any action?
I make a motion, we adopt 37 of 2020.
Second.
Second.
I had a second from Matt, adoption by Ed. We're opening it up for discussion. Laura, could you tell council what you heard today when you called them?
Okay, as y'all know, this property is at 316 South First Street. The homeowner actually called our office on Friday and spoke to our code enforcement and said that she received one of the letters. The second letter was refused and not signed for. She stated that they intended to tear the property down, but if the city wants to tear it down, more power to them, is almost the exact words that we received. So they have no intent to fix this property up at all.
They said they were going to tear it down, but if the city wants to,
That was almost the exact words.
do we have to allow, because of public hearing and all that, or?
Yeah, we have to give them time to speak, and they're not here to speak, and that's why I asked Laura
yeah.
to share her comments.
We advised them very much to attend this meeting tonight, and they didn't say whether they would or they would not. But
They had proper notice, Ben? They were given proper notice, and they reached out to you, and we talked to them.
and we let them know that if the city does tear this property down, that there would be a lien put on the property if the city does have to expense to
Good.
remedy this.
Well, Mayor, if there is no public input, I'll make the motion to adopt this resolution 37.
I'll second that.
We got a motion from Doug, a second by James to adopt resolution number 37 of 2020.
There already is, Mayor.
Okay. I'm sorry. You're right.
I think there always was a motion to adopt and second earlier, and you open for discussion.
Okay. I apologize. Is that okay? So remove that from the record, and we have somebody from the public that wants to talk. Jay O'Neill. We have no idea.
We'd have to get quotes to know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the people in the audience that couldn't hear you, and for people on Zoom, he asked how much it would cost to tear it down, and we said we didn't know yet. We haven't got any quotes. But that's what we do, and we'll figure out what's the most advantageous to the city if this is passed. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of adoption of ordinance number 37 of 2020, please, Tammy. Yes, resolution number 37 of 2020. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this passes 7-0, and now I'm going to end the public hearing meeting pertaining to this resolution at 7:43. Okay, next item, Tammy, ordinance number 33 of 2020.
Number 33 of 2020, an ordinance approving a waiver for sidewalks for the proposed Dollar General property located off Highway 5 and for other purposes. First reading.
Okay, we have, council, we have Daniel Bartlett. Is that correct? On the screen, you can see him, everyone in the audience. He's here on behalf of Dollar General, and he's wanting to waive the second and third reading and apply for his business permit immediately and start building.
Yes,
Correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Council, what questions do you have for Mr. Bartlett?
Well, let me, can you hear, Mr. Bartlett, what's the reason for wanting to waive or not put these sidewalks in?
Mr. Bartlett, what's the reason for not wanting to put the sidewalks in?
We see that Highway 5 is not developed as much as the Spring Valley Road, of course, and we would be willing to do the in lieu of fee, and instead of putting the, maybe that money would be used somewhere else where sidewalks are actually needed. I don't think there's very many sidewalks on Highway 5 in that vicinity at the moment.
State in lieu of. We'd have to amend the ordinance, council, to do in lieu of money.
Does it need to go back to the planning commission if we put that clause in there?
No, sir. Council's the only one that can waive sidewalks.
No,
But in lieu of, that's what I'm saying, in lieu of. Money in lieu of, okay.
We get to hold the money for so long to put them in. If we don't, 5 years or 10 years, I can't remember. 10 years, then we have to return the money.
Mayor, has Laura figured out how much they would need to contribute?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
How much would we have to contribute, or they would need to contribute for in lieu of?
I believe it's 100%, if not 1.5 times. I'd have to double check that. I'm not 100%.
100% of what?
I know the multiplier, but what is going to be the final figure? Have you run any numbers on it? Have you had an opportunity to do that? Or is this the first time you're hearing this proposal?
This is my first time of hearing the proposal of the money in lieu of, so no.
Yeah, that's going, we need to, in my humble opinion, then we need to table this and send it back to staff to review it since it's the first time they've heard it.
I'll motion the table if that's necessary, but this is only the first reading.
Let it go another reading and amend the ordinance, Doug? I mean, Ed?
Yeah, we can do that, I guess. I'm not willing to work it tonight, Mayor, because the staff was not informed of this. This is a big deal they need to look at. I don't know if they want to do that or not. It is an option, but I don't know if staff has discussed it. They need an opportunity to think about it. So I'm not willing to work it till next month.
Okay. What we can do, Mr. Bartlett, is we can have a special meeting after our agenda meeting on the 3rd of October.
3rd of October?
right? The next meeting, is it the 3rd? I'm going off the top of my head.
Saturday.
That's that, Saturday's the 3rd, 3rd, 4th. I'm sorry, October 5th.
Yeah.
October 5th. And I can do a special meeting for you. We can discuss this and bring everything to the table and let council consider.
As long as staff has time to review it and we get a report back from staff on it, Mayor, it's fine with me.
Okay. Well, as soon as we get it, what we'll do is we'll forward it to the full council.
It'll be fine.
Do we need a motion to do that?
No, we just.
No, gonna hold the readings.
So since it's the first reading, Mr. Bartlett, we're just going to let it hold here, and then we'll do the second reading at the October 5th meeting and talk about amending the ordinance if council so desires.
If we amend the ordinance, how far would that set us back on our building permit then?
If they all worked out, you would be ready to go the next day.
Okay. We're very interested in turning some dirt pretty soon is what the whole thing is, of course.
Okay. And we'd love to have you all out there, so we just got to make sure everybody's in agreement.
Okay. Any other questions on that, of what we discussed last time? I think they were all addressed in a return response letter. We covered everything that we talked about in the last Zoom meeting too.
Were they okay?
That was on the Planning Commission agenda, yes.
She said
that
you're
was
good.
in a staff meeting.
She said you're good. That's on the Planning Commission stuff. Mr. Bartlett, you're good.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, we're going to move to our next item. Ordinance number 34, 2020. Please, Tammy.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Code of the City of Cabot to declare an emergency and for the purposes of first reading.
We have Mr. Michael Wheeler.
Mayor, City Council.
Please address.
If you would, I would appreciate if we would waive the second and third reading on this and the emergency clause. We have programs waiting to go into effect that will affect the public welfare financially and emotionally. So we'd love to get those going as soon as possible.
And I'll second that.
I got a motion from James, a second from Ed, to suspend the second and third readings of ordinance number 34, 2020. Any discussion by council?
Hey, Mike.
Mayor, this is something that we don't get to do often. We are actually removing some regulations and loosening some things up for the citizens. I think it's the right thing to do, is go ahead and pass it tonight and get it on the books so that we can move on with it, and hope that we can do some more of these in the future where we can kind of loosen some stuff up. This is the right thing to do for the citizens, and it's the right thing to do to waive it and pass the emergency clause.
Animal Services Department. So is it the director? So it's just going to be the director. This isn't going to be something that can be, given to somebody else. It'll just be the director.
No, sir. We feel that just the head of the department should be the only one to make this call. We shouldn't allow individuals below them to do this, so it'd be a director's call only. And it'd be based on whatever programs we put in.
Good. Could you talk in the mic a little bit better, buddy?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Anyone from the audience? All in favor of waiving the second and third readings of ordinance number 34 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Make a motion, we adopt 34, 2020.
Any public discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting ordinance number 34, 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Make a motion that we invoke the emergency clause for ordinance number 34 of 2020.
Second.
Got a motion by James, a second by Ed, to invoke the emergency clause for ordinance number 34, 2020. Any discussion by council?
These fees, Mike, these are, what kind of fees are we talking about?
Well, to start with, Doug, the first program we're implementing as soon as this passes is the free ride home program. So if a citizen is duly licensed, their animal, and is microchipped, then my officer no longer has to take them back to the shelter, incur the $20 impound fee, the vaccination fee. They can just take them straight to their house.
Okay, that's a good enough one right there. You don't know going farther.
Any further council discussion? Any public discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of invoking the emergency clause for ordinance number 34, 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. You're welcome. Okay, next item, Tammy, is ordinance number 35 of 2020. We have the first reading on this. Any waiver of second and third?
Since we need full complement on that commission and they've got a meeting tomorrow night, I make a motion we waive second and third.
Got a motion from Ed, a second from James, to waive the second and third reading of ordinance number 35 of 2020. Any discussion? Any from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
The meeting tomorrow night, we need the emergency clause in too, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 35 of 2020.
Got a motion to adopt 35 of 2020.
Second.
Second from James. Any discussion? Any from the audience? All in favor, roll call, Tammy, of adopting number 35 of 2020, signify by saying yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Make a motion to adopt the emergency clause for ordinance number 35 of 2020.
I got a motion from Matt, a second from Damon, to adopt the emergency clause for ordinance number 35 of 2020. Any discussion? Any from the public? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the emergency clause for ordinance number 35 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Okay, next item, Tammy, resolution number 38 of 2020.
Make a motion we adopt ordinance 38 of 2020.
Second.
I got a Ron to adopt resolution number 38 of 2020. Any discussion? Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting resolution number 38 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item, Tammy, ordinance number 36 of 2020.
Number 36 of 2020, an ordinance to approve an economic development services agreement with the Cabot Chamber of Commerce to waive competitive bidding, provide for the release of funds, and for the purposes. First reading.
A motion to waive the second and third reading.
I got a motion by Kevin, a second by Damon to waive the second and third reading of ordinance number 36 of 2020. Any discussion?
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay, please.
I don't know if I need to direct this to the city attorney, but in all of our ordinances where we are requesting services or product, there is a paragraph in each ordinance that specifies, and I know Ms. Tammy read it in her title, but I cannot find this anywhere in the ordinance as far as the paragraph stating that we have either waived competitive bidding or we have conducted competitive bidding. There's nothing in here. Is it not required for services in excess of $20,000? I just want to make sure that we don't stub our foot on this.
Well, if the council sees fit, yes, we can waive it. That's why we have the authority that we do.
I know.
And that's the short answer, okay?
I know, but it should be stated in the resolution, or excuse me, the ordinance, should it not?
If you look at section 2, it is.
Section 2?
The governing body hereby determines that due to circumstances stated above, formal competitive bidding is not deemed practical and therefore waives the formal competitive bidding requirement as allowed by state law.
I don't have that in my copy.
Can you approach up here and show him where that would be, please, Ben?
Section 2.
Okay. All right, thank you.
247.
It's okay, thank you.
Did that answer your question, buddy?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions by council?
I just like, last year, that we took this into, I think it was April before we gave the chamber this contract to go ahead. And I think in fairness, seeing nothing has really changed last year to this, I think we're good to go here and give them this year an opportunity to set their budget, know what they're going to have going into the new year. So I would recommend we go ahead and waive this and give the chamber the budget. They've been doing a great job, and let's help them do it again.
Any other discussion by council?
I'm still apprehensive because of the change in the audit to a comprehensive financial review. I just would be more comfortable with an audit as stewards of the taxpayers' funds. I would really like a more thorough review.
It's based off, that question was asked in the agenda meeting a couple weeks ago, and I remember the question vividly. Their attorney recommended, because it fits the ordinance and the contract, is why they changed it. The chamber is audited yearly like anybody else is, okay? But That word was put in there to fit the contract with the ordinance, the whole thing. That's what was said a couple weeks ago.
Get mad at me, I'm just asking the question. I'm no CPA, so I don't pretend to be one. I'm just asking the question and stating my own personal opinion. That's it.
Okay. Anybody else on the council with comments? Anyone from the audience? Sure. Oh, whoa. You come up, state your name, get the mic so people can hear you.
My name is Michael Jones. I live at 21 St. John Street, and I'd like to rise in opposition to the motions on the floor. I'm not going to waive the second and third reading. I think that any agreement entered in for community and economic development between the city and the chamber needs to be, whatever that agreement is, needs to be provided to the public for us to review it. I haven't seen the chamber offer up that agreement for us to see what services they would be offering specifically for the price tag that's attached to it. And as Councilman Weber said, we need to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. And for something as serious as community and economic development that's going to be vital to the future of having a community that's growing, I think we need to see what are we getting for our money when it comes to community and economic development. And we need to be open to having a discussion if that agreement is not adequate or necessary for the type for accommodating and adapting to the kind of growth that Cabot has experienced in recent decades and that it will continue to experience. I think a serious discussion needs to be had on reassessing and reevaluating our path forward, our strategies when it comes to community and economic development. So I think before this is approved, before the second and third reading is waived, we need to see what it is in this agreement and what is the public getting for our services, for their services.
If that's the question, I thought I heard, what do they do? What are we agreeing to? Number one, job creation. Number two, job retention. Those both increase the tax base. Site selection. The chamber handles site selection weekly, monthly. That means taking proponent business people around. Okay. Regional assistance in large industry, because those said might move to Cabot. And they are a local private liaison that handles business. And those things are done within the chamber. Okay, that's the short answer. And it's not coming out of the city budget. Okay, it's paid for out of a fenced account that hosts fenced business license fees. So it does not affect the city budget. Okay, so that's the short answer. And if the director, chamber, the executive board director, Sarah, is there, if you have questions for her as well.
Well, I just think that I would like to see, like, by what measurements are we measuring their performance? By what standards are we measuring the job creation? By what standards are we measuring the business development? And so before we get into any agreement, let's just see that we're actually getting what we're paying for. And while I appreciate the assertion that the money is not coming from the city general fund, I think any city money, it belongs to the community. Like, we've all paid into that, regardless of where it comes from. Just by virtue of living in this town, we have a stake. So therefore, I think anything, what are we measuring those standards by? Can we see that? We can't see it right now because we don't have the agreement in front of us. So I just think that there's a lot of information that needs to be put before the public before this is adopted. And I think it is, as I said, a serious discussion needs to be had of approach to and our strategies when it comes to community and economic development in this town. And so I think before anything's adopted, let's just be more transparent and let's have a more conversation about community and economic development.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Sarah Brown. I'm the president of the board of the Chamber of Commerce. It's my understanding that there is copies of the contract that anybody can access there at the city, as well as we do provide the quarterly reports that you guys have requested and that we've negotiated along the way that are very transparent. We give you our books as well as how we use all of the money exactly so that you guys know. So there is quite a bit of transparency, and we would be glad to address any inconsistencies with any transparency, because that is part of a working partnership, is to let you guys have ownership and know what we've got going on. So just want to assure and let you know, if this wants to be a competitive bid, that's an option that you guys definitely have to be able to put out there. But I think the contract that we have for economic development is a different thing than as we're looking at community and opportunities for the citizens to do different things. So as we're talking about economic development, we see that what we're doing right now is meeting contracts, but if there's any other questions, I'd be glad to address those too.
Thank you, sir. How do we measure success?
How do we measure
Sarah.
success? We're constantly, and you can look at the quarterly reports as well to see how many businesses we're engaging with, how many site visits, how many property visitations, how many inquiries we're getting about potential businesses, and not just Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce kind of work includes, hey, is there utilities here, or how do we make those kinds of connections, but actually getting out and drawing community investment into what we've got here. So there's businesses that are actually listed on our quarterly reports that you can see that we're adding to constantly.
It created X dollars.
We don't have the actual dollars as far as the tax dollars that are created, because that's a number that the city's going to have to be able to show the exact tax dollars that are going with that. We look at ribbon cuttings is more of a Chamber of Commerce operation. What we look at is how many jobs are generated, and so those are the numbers usually that we list on our reports. Oh goodness, I'd have to look on our piece of paper. That would have been in our information there. I'm sorry.
Anybody else? Ma'am? If you'd please wipe off the mic. That's okay, Sarah.
My name is Sarah Wells. I live on Ernie Davis Road. I'm here today because I am concerned about the fact that we are waiving the competitive bidding process. I'm also concerned that because we are waiving the bidding process, that reading between the lines, I'm concerned about cronyism. Cronyism. I'm from Cabot, and so this is something that I worry about, especially in light of new revelation that I've gotten within the past week. I am concerned about the wording, and I have a lot of questions. So if you guys will all bear with me. The first I wanted to ask was, why is the Chamber not listed as a vendor on the transparency.arkansas.gov website in order for the public to fully review expenditures made with the funds that originate from this contract?
Sarah? Anyone from the Chamber?
Well, since it's not on the transparency website, you
Wait.
did say that the Chamber...
Sarah, I think Gina.
Oh. Right, but the Chamber is a vendor of the economic development. They're providing the services under this contract. So they should be listed as a vendor on the transparency. They're paying for economic development services that are rendered by the chamber CEO as I've read it. Is that incorrect? Right, but the way the contract reads, if I'm incorrect, as though we are hiring the Chamber of Commerce for economic development. Is that incorrect? Okay, so then they are a vendor. Since it's not on the transparency website, I've heard that the funds are turned over to the city. I have tried to locate such funds and have been unsuccessful. Are there expenditure receipts from last year and the year prior that are linked to these tax funds to members of the community? Can I get a copy of those? All right. I would like to ask the council to allow myself and other members of the public to have time to review these expenditure receipts and to not waive the second and third readings. One of my other items is I understand that the city has the legal ability to waiver these services, but my question is, does the city waive this bidding process for other professional services? What services were those?
Not all the time, but there are occasions.
And what are those occasions?
It's a
Typically?
It's a case-by-case basis.
Okay. So my question is, this contract states that formal competitive bidding is not practical and the city of Cabot wishes to waive the competitive bidding. Who deemed that the formal competitive bidding is not practical in this instance, and why?
The city council deemed it waiving formal competitive bidding because the city council has to protect the city. And that is the primary reason behind that. If we put it up for formal bidding, then somebody in Chicago or New York can bid it. And based on criteria for the bidding, who would get the bid? Do you want somebody from New York building smokestacks here and things like that? That's the reason why we waive it, okay? That is the primary reason.
I would strongly disagree, sir.
Well, that's the reason.
I hear you, and I hear that you're passionate about this, but I disagree.
Well, that's okay.
We're saying that because we're afraid of people out of state, that there are no local entities that could provide equitable services.
What's your question again? You said we're. Who's we?
The city of Cabot has decided that there are no other no other entities that could provide equitable services. That's what I understand from us choosing to waive the bidding process.
That's not what I said.
That's my question. Okay, so start over, excuse me. Are there no other entities that could provide equitable services other than the Chamber of Commerce?
We don't know. But the chamber is a private business for business. And the idea behind all of it, the reason why we have the chamber is because of FOI and privacy. They can't be FOI to get information on businesses that are coming. That's why we pulled it away from the city, because the city can be FOI'd. Okay?
So that doesn't need to be explained to me, sir. I did ask the question, and I'm sorry, but I feel like I'm being talked down to, frankly. It was just stated that we don't know if there are any other entities that could provide equitable services, so why would we not attempt the bidding process? If the chamber is the best option, then amazing. That's great. But we don't know, is the answer that I just received. So why would we waive the bidding process?
Ask question.
Like I said, I just said a while ago, we did it to protect the city. That's the primary reason.
Is also FOIable, and they do not hide when they are courting businesses to come to the state. So why is the city different?
Sarah, do you have something as well?
How do we do this and what's the best way to do this, we looked at other city councils, other chamber of commerce, other cities to see how they were operating and how they were making things work. And as an initial starter package, this was really the best and easiest idea for everybody because there's those contacts that are constantly already being exchanged and there's some ease of business going through there. If the city would like to open this up for bid, the chamber is totally accepted to that. This is a contract that we worked very hard on. If we're looking at losing that contract, we understand that there's business that has to be done, and we're open and we're okay with that. It's been a really hard contract. I mean, we have enjoyed all of the business, but it's been a process every single year. But we have loved and enjoyed every step of the way. And the community development that we get to do within the community has been great. But this is, as we talk about waiving, it really was just based on other standards of business, and that's really the main purpose of it.
Right. Thank you for that clarification. So I guess my follow-up question to that statement is that was a great option as we were starting. A couple years in, why are we still deciding that it is in the best interest of the city to keep it in an autonomous organization rather than under city government? I believe that Cabot is large enough that we can have our own economic developer on staff. Conway actually has just recently created a diversity and economic development position within their city government. Find that information. I didn't look up that information. Okay. I still believe that the Cabot is big enough and that it can live within the city. I think that is a better option for the city of Cabot. John has already asked how we're tracking the successes of this partnership, but I would like to take it a step farther and ask, how are we also tracking the successes versus the failures so that we can track year to year the improvements? I have reviewed the quarterly reports, and they are fairly detailed in the types of activity. They are not detailed in things, data. There's no data-driven information that I can find. So there's no cost to benefit analysis provided. There is also, we're not showing things like the number of participants that show up to this event or this whatever, and then taking that account to population and figuring out percentages. We're not sharing those type of numbers with the public so that we can see each year, okay, we were at 5% here at job growth, and next year we're at 10%, so that we can measure that this partnership is working. And then if it's not working, then we can look for other options. So again, I am not opposed to the chamber being in this position. What I am opposed to is waiving the bidding process to make it a fair and transparent process for the city of Cabot. The chamber website lists member benefits on the website, but it includes its economic development items within their listing. So there is not a differentiation of these are the economic development services provided to the city, and these are the chamber functions. So that's something that I'm not understanding, where the money is being spent on these items and not these items.
I'm King, Ian's a volunteer. I've been volunteering in Cabot for 18 years now, and anything and everything.
I think that's
You know,
unfair.
I'm
That's just a
talking
big
about,
job.
I'm talking to you. Thank you.
Wow.
I'd love to have you come to some of these meetings. You have some great ideas that can work. Again, this is a work in progress.
And because it's a work in progress, I really believe that waiving the second and third readings is unwise for the city of Cabot. The other question I have is...
And before we continue, let's all be professional here.
What's that?
Be professional, everybody in the room.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that to me?
No, just everybody.
Okay.
Just reminding everybody.
Confused for a second. The other question I had, we are living in COVID era. So that means that economic development this year looked a lot different than it did last year. So my question is, where has the economic development team redirected the funds during the challenges of the COVID era?
Who's that question for? Okay.
Business. We've had to readapt and reimagine a lot of our businesses, but when it comes to my dream of opening a business, I'm still going to pursue what we want to do.
Okay, my other question is, where are the clauses in this contract that gives the city the legal rights to terminate the contract at any point in time? It is in there? Okay. I didn't read that. I overlooked that. Thank you for clarifying. Okay. And speaking from personal experience as a business owner within this community, I know that the people at the chamber are very passionate about their jobs. However, my membership in the chamber produced zero return on the investment. It created a loss of time and finances. It was disappointing for me, as I was the marketing person, the marketing arm of our business, and I was hopeful of the type of growth we would have for our business because of the promises that we received. And I don't expect that that everything would materialize. However, being listed on the website is really the only thing I feel like we got, and that produced no business. So it has me personally, from personal experience, concerned that possibly this isn't the best that is available, and maybe it is. I don't know. And I have heard that we don't know. So I'm respectfully imploring council to not waive the second and third reading, and to also not waive the bidding process. Thank you for your time and answering my questions.
And community people, I encourage and I actually love the negative involvement is a big deal too. And showing them the whole thing is networking. And so as much as you want to be involved is how much you're going to get back into it too. But we'd be glad to spend time with anybody as far as how we talk and improve the chamber. But again, leaving it up to you guys on the contract.
Anyone else from the public?
Would the chamber still help that other team, make it for a larger economic development team?
Stop it.
I think in the last like 15 minutes or so of this discussion, it's been made clear that there's clearly a view among council members and all the other powers to be that there is no alternative to the economic development for Cabot. However, I just don't think that's the case. Given that Cabot's grown so much in recent years, I think any approach to community and economic development needs to be one that's very grassroots and helps to expand the table to allow for these citizen-led organizations that have popped up in the last 10 years that are doing some of the work in community development. It allows them to kind of have a voice and play a role. Nobody is saying that the chamber is just awful and that we hate you, but let's just be honest with that, okay? We all appreciate what you do, okay? And we do think that there's a role for y'all to play. It's just that we need to find a way, a method for community and economic development that encompasses everybody, brings everybody to the table. And that's probably the discussion that we need to be having before we enter into any type of formal agreement. We need to have this discussion of what is community and economic development to us, what does that mean, what does that entail, and what roles do people have to play in that. So we need to be discussing that before we enter into any type of financial agreement. I think that's a discussion, and I think there are several others that would agree that that discussion over what is community and economic development and what roles that not just the formal institutions but the citizens have to play in that. I think that's a discussion that's been lacking for a long time in Cabot, and it's not too late for us to have that discussion, but it's one that we need to have. So there is an alternative approach here. Yes, it's going to require cooperation and collaboration. It's going to require planning, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but it's something that everyone in this room, we all have the intelligence that we're capable of doing that. So like, let's just make that clear. This is not like anything targeting the chamber. Sarah, Gina, we're not trying to target y'all. Do not feel like we are. We're just trying to advocate for a solution that really expands the table and gets alternative voices into the mix. There is an alternative approach to economic and community development other than entering into a several $1,000s of agreement. So that's what we're saying here. So if the second and third reading could be waived to allow time for more public input, public discussion on this, and who knows, maybe at the end of that time we could have some type of a path forward at the end of that. But I think that's probably what's being said here tonight.
Gina Quattlebaum?
This whole process, I think Amy's done a tremendous job, and I think a lot of you don't realize the
say something? I didn't mean to interrupt.
Years for sure, a bit longer than that, to study the models of Conway, Arkansas, Siloam Springs, Arkansas, which is one of the hottest cities growth in the state of Arkansas. It's astronomical what the city of Siloam Springs is doing. The city of Bryant, the growth, what they're doing, Fort Smith, and we've gone to these cities and studied the models of what they do and how they run stuff. Are we perfect? No, we're not. But we're following the leads of these cities that done the great growth that we look at and model and see what they're doing. They are comfortable to the size of Cabot, and we're trying to do the best what we can do on those models of what they're doing. And if you ever been to Bryant or Conway, you can see the growth and what they have provided for the citizens of their city. So.
To add to that, I was able to tell you, we started 2013. We had our own survey that our own city put out. I think Roger was a part of that. We got 1,000 returns back on it. And we did get surveys of what people wanted. So then we locked a fenced account in order for funding of economic development. Okay. We worked on that for a couple of years to build up funding. Then we went back and Boyette decided to do a survey for us, which is professional services. And they made recommendations according to that survey a year later on how the city ought to do the economic development. And that's why the primary reason why the chamber is in there now. So this didn't start last year or the year before. This started pretty much 7 or 8 years ago. So, and the city is done. Parks and Rec, we've done North Interchange, and all that plays into eco development. The city is on, we're doing exactly what the professionals have told us to do. So we haven't wavered from that. There's been a little delays here and there, but everything has been discussed before. I can assure you that. So this is nothing new to us. And I'll say I'm still behind the chamber on this because it was recommended by professional services, and that's where I'll leave that. And it wouldn't be here. It probably wouldn't be in a chamber here if we hadn't have done that. It is working. There is businesses coming. There's still businesses wanting to come, and that's what it's all about. So I'll leave that with that.
But now, here we are in 2020, and there are organizations that are citizen-led that are willing to step up and play a role and to lend a hand towards the quality of life in our community. Just to have one organization, once again, not trying to knock the chamber because they have done a great job. They've done what they can in the years since this agreement has started. However, there are now citizen-led organizations, citizens that are wanting to step up and put forth the work to make their community better. I know someone's used the phrase earlier, community investment. Well, there's no other better way to create community buy-in for economic development, but just in general, than giving them a role and expanding the table for them to have a say. So I think a comprehensive approach to community and economic development, one that goes beyond just business development and gets more into some of the larger issues that are facing the community, and one that can bring everybody together, that's the discussion we should be having. And somebody talked about models earlier. Well, I worked for 2 months for the city of Lone Oak and the Lone Oak 2022 project. And if the little town of Lone Oak with 5,000 people can get the city, the school district, all the churches, and all the citizens in town to get together and make a five-point plan, a 5-year plan for community and economic development, I definitely think that we're able to do that as well. So I definitely hear what's being said, but I think we're going to continue with the position that more discussion needs to be had about community and economic development, and have a much larger discussion that goes beyond the role of the chamber and this agreement that we're talking about. And I think for that reason is why I think that this probably should either, the second or third reading should go about to give more time for public discussion or some other path forward should be considered. Either way, the results should be the same, which is we should be discussing
the larger picture, much larger than what's being discussed right now.
Michael, you mentioned another organization is now available that do this. What organization are you speaking of?
Well, I mentioned how in Lono, the city of Lono, 2022.
Right.
They had, someone mentioned models earlier for like an alternative for economic development. So I said in Lono 2022, they formed their own organization. It's basically just a big conglomerate of everyone that's a power player in the town. You know, they got the city, they got the chamber, they got the school district, they got churches, they got civic organization, they got school groups. You know, there's an alternative way forward that, as I said, brings everybody to the table and gives everybody a voice, but it still allows everyone to have a role as well. So there's an alternative out there, but I just think that we need to be having that discussion and a much larger discussion than the one we're having right now.
Ms. Woods. No, for Lono.
I'm hearing everybody clearly that you guys have put in a lot of work that none of us have seen. I acknowledge that. I praise you. However, what I am also hearing is that you are unwilling to hear other opinions and voices, that there are citizens in this community that want to bid this out, that want to have more discussion. So my question now is, are we here having this discussion where everybody's mind has already been made up, that this is the decision we have made previously and this is the decision we're sticking with? Or are we a community, and are we willing to listen to some other points of view and acknowledge those and have the second and third readings and have the bidding process? Have we totally shut out the community, or have decisions already been made?
I can answer that, Mayor.
Go ahead.
We have a committee agenda meeting every month, the first Monday. The Economic Development has a committee, which I chair, and David on the floor is co-chair. That is the time where the public can come out, state whatever they want to do. They can comment on any of the committees. It's been there ever since I've been around. The Economic Development Committee has been there since 5-6 years, Ed. Yeah. And we've had that many committees monthly. So that is the time to come out and state what you think, what you want to do with eco development, personnel and budget, fire and police, or public works. And it's been that way ever since I've been around. So we have public meetings every month. And all the public's more than welcome to come.
So am I hearing you correctly to say that this public meeting is not the venue for us to have this discussion, to enter into a bidding process, and to also have a second and third reading so that there can be more discussion? Is that what I'm understanding you to say, that this is not the venue because y'all have made the decision in these other meetings?
No decision has been made as of right now. That's why we're here, and that's why you're there.
Understand. Thank you, sir. But I will say, from my perspective and reading the conversations that are happening, I get the impression that decisions have already been made and that there is no room for further discussion. And I think that is a disservice to the community.
Opportunity, the chamber, and I think the city would be glad if we want to put this up to bidding. I think that's a larger opportunity for everybody. However, if that's what we're going to do, I would like to see a timeline on that, like having bids in before the next agenda meeting or the next council meeting, because this contract does start
well, on to that, I did read the scope of services, and I feel that they are detailed enough that it would be fairly simple to create a scope of work for the bidding process. We're September. The third reading would happen when? November, is that correct? I think there's ample time to get this right, where everybody is excited about it. Because right now, I don't think everybody is excited because we're not giving the option to bid it out. And we are not giving the option to continue the discussion by these proposals. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Personally, I've never been aware of the agenda meetings, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm speaking for myself.
Okay, this is brought up again every month. We have an economic development, we have police and fires, we have military committees come up. They might think that now we're getting ready to do this contract. We're here.
Yes,
now that we're going to delay.
Well, that's the beauty of state government. I mean, that's how legislation works. They think they have it all the way ready up until everybody's going to vote, and then it gets knocked out and they have to start all over. That's not uncommon for state government and making ordinances and making laws. I respectfully ask the council to give the opportunity for bidding and to not waive the second and third reading so that everyone can feel as though they have had buy-in and we can all be partners in this project and be excited about it.
Anyone else? Anyone from the council before we do the vote? All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor to waive the second and third readings of ordinance number 36 of 2020. All in favor of waiving the second and third reading of ordinance number 36 of 2020 signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Weber.
No.
Wayman.
No.
Long.
No.
Davis.
Yes.
Warner.
Yes.
Bivens.
Yes.
Reed.
No.
Fails 3-4. Next item, resolution number 39 of 2020. Please, Tammy.
Authorizing the mayor to join the Lono County judge and the mayors of Austin and Ward in requesting Metro Plan to fund the development and construction of a pedestrian bike trail from Ward to Cabot under the Surface Transportation Program and for other reasons.
I gave this to Ed, let him know this was something that the mayors of Austin, Ward, and I and the county judge discussed. Mayors of Austin and Ward, their councils already approved this. We sent something to Metro Plan, and they've pre-approved us. Metro Plan, if you don't know, has pre-approved $55 million to be spent over the next 10 years for regional bike trails. So we were putting our name out there. This is what we want to connect Ward City Hall to Cabot City Hall. They like it. We've had half look at it, and we've submitted it. I think we have a good chance, which would be a $3 million project, and they would give us $2.2 million. So, speaking of economic development, it would connect our three cities. And if you don't know, our Metro Plan area of Austin, Ward, Cabot, I think is the highest growth area in central Arkansas, I believe, is what I've been told. But so I'm asking for council's consideration on this to allow us to go to the table with this and see what Metro Plan comes back with.
This just formalizes our request for that. It's not committing us to anything. Any approval of funds down the road and all that, it's got to come back before the council anyway. But otherwise, without this, they're not even going to consider us as a partner.
Right. I think the judge is doing his tonight with Quorum Court, and Austin and Ward has already done theirs. And it's due September 30th.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 39 of 2020.
I got a motion from Matt, second from Damon, to approve the adoption of resolution number 39 of 2020. Discussion by council. Discussion by the public. Okay, I appreciate that. Great idea from the public. Yeah, I hope we get it. It's going to be a big thing for all of us. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor of adopting resolution number 39 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Passes 7-0. Okay, this next item, right before the meeting, I was informed that RDOT may have an issue with our handicap crosswalk. We've talked to Ben. It may only be $200 or $300, but we want to make sure we give you all the right number of the bid if it changes. So what we'd like to do is pull this and maybe put this on the special meeting on October 3rd, if that's okay with the council.
I make a motion that we remove item O, resolution number 40-2020, off the agenda.
Move resolution number 40 of 2020 from the agenda. Any discussion? Any from the public? Seeing none, all in favor of removing this resolution, number 40 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Bivens.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Warner.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item, resolution number 41 of 2020.
With Arkansas Roofing Company for roofing replacement, repair, and related services, and for other purposes.
Okay, I've got Mike Wheeler coming up to the mic. He has led this project for me. He's going to go over some items in addition to a anonymous letter. Looks like someone within the city has sent something saying that they are not agreeable with the request for roofs and saying that there was a false claim made. So let's give them a little backlog and then go into this, because we need to let the public know.
Mayor, City Council, I know we want to get in the bid discussion, but I think it's important that everybody understands and we're fully transparent on all of this. Explain a few things about the Municipal League program. Like the mayor said, I need to let you know the Arkansas Municipal League did receive an anonymous letter from someone questioning the legality of the hail claims being paid to the city. This unknown person accused the city of committing insurance fraud based on the number of roofs and the claim date of the damages. Bear with me. I want to explain a couple things that could have easily been explained if somebody would have just called me or City Hall. Start out with the understanding the Municipal League property program is not insurance as we know it. It's actually a program where participating municipalities pool their resources and provide all risk protection for their buildings and contents. It's not insurance. It's not regulated by the state of Arkansas Insurance Department or any of its regulations. The Arkansas Municipal League as an organization determines the guidelines for paying claims, and although they mimic insurance standards, they also have more flexibility in their processes and procedures. Per John Wells, the general manager of the Municipal League Property Program, when they received the anonymous letter, they investigated the claim and found that there were 3 storm dates that could have caused the damages to these roofs. These storm dates were in 2016, 2017, and 2019. Since the Municipal League has no statute of limitations on damage from hail claims, and they managed the insurance fund during all of those events, they paid the claim. They found the City of Cabot did nothing wrong in our management of these claims. According to John Wells, this is a non-issue with the Arkansas Municipal League, and there is nothing the city should have done differently. Now, I want to make sure you got a line on this. The claim process started because of issues with interior water damage in some of the buildings. The mayor contacted a roofing company who was on the Arkansas TIPS program. The company came out and inspected the roof of the city and determined there was hail damage on several roofs in the city. The company also provided the storm data directly to Municipal League of when the storm was that caused the damage. Municipal League started a claim based on the storm data provided by this company. The roofing company, like I said, went through the Arkansas TIPS program and started replacing these roofs. It was during the process of replacing these roofs, it was noticed the roofing company only looked at larger asphalt shingle roofs and certain TPO roofs, which is a flat rubber membrane roofing. Still unclear as to why all roofs weren't looked at. It was said that they didn't do metal roofing, which the majority of city buildings are. So I contacted the Arkansas Municipal League and explained that we had other roofs in the city that were leaking, but were not looked at. So at that time, the adjuster gave me the name of a roofing contractor that the Municipal League has worked with in the past and trusted to look at the roofs. I contacted the company, scheduled a date and time to look at every roof in the city that was owned by the city. Upon inspection by the company, they provided a report back directly to the Municipal League with details of the inspections and which roofs had hail damage and which ones did not. At that time, the adjuster set up a date and time to meet with me and the company. We looked at every roof in the city once again. Upon inspection by the adjuster, he agreed with the company on that the roofs were damaged, deemed to have hail damage and wind damage. The Arkansas Municipal League determined that they were going to use the same claim date, and that's important because the Arkansas Municipal League determined that. We didn't determine that. I don't know when the claim date was, when it happened, and I processed the claim to cover all the damaged roofs under one claim. When they processed the claim and issued the checks on the roof, it was actually discovered through an in-depth analysis by me and Tammy that the Municipal League had actually overpaid on many of the properties. Making sure the city receives what is due, but not more than what is due, is extremely important. So after calling John Wells and explaining the detail in overages, Tammy and her office issued checks in the amount of $97,957.08 back to the Municipal League. They didn't even know they overpaid us. So we did our due diligence. Tammy's office was great with it. From there, we put the project out to bid, and the bid date was last Friday. It was put on the agenda tonight so that we would not have to have a special meeting, and so we could start the contract negotiation, hopefully not be affected by weather too much. That's a full timeline of everything that happened. And the important part of that is the Municipal League sees this as a non-issue, and there's nothing the city should have done differently. But the anonymous letter coming out was the shock, so I thought we should address everything.
Yeah, and it labeled a transition report sent straight to me from the prior mayor. So, it had to come from someone within the city, which is very disheartening. So, with that being said, we have 900 how much?
The total bid was $979,901.16 for this new bid. And I will answer any questions anybody has on it.
I have a question. Thank you for going over that, Mr.
Yes,
Wheeler. The last item there, or second to last, sports complex, is that the water park on 321 and the concession building?
The Cabot Sports Complex is the aquatic center and on Highway 321.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, in case some folks may not have read the packet and understood, the city bid out these buildings even the Parks and Rec buildings, because we own the buildings, and Parks and Rec did provide the resolution, which is in the packet here, that allowed the city to bid them out on their behalf. And the lowest bid was from Arkansas Roofing Company. Actually, they were the only bid. I have talked to Municipal League, and they are happy with this company. They've used them before, and they see no issues in working with them on this insurance process.
Did you do any due diligence on Arkansas Roofing?
Yes, I followed up on all references. Like I said, I also talked to the adjuster and John Wells on this company as well. No one has had any issues with them, and see no reason why we shouldn't do business with them.
Any action?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 41 of 2020.
Second.
I got a motion by Matt, second by Ed, to approve resolution number 41 of 2020. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. Mike may have said this already, but I did ask him earlier, when the roofs do get redone, I am requesting that we have a service agreement this time. Yeah. That's all.
What happened last time, Kevin, is prior administration let people go up on the roofs, which voided the warranty.
Yeah.
So since then, we have a notebook, and they have to go through different channels to even get on the roof. And we've got all that pretty much. People know how to proceed from here. But
all right. Mm-hmm.
Any other comments from council? Any from the public? Seeing none, all in favor of adoption of resolution number 41 of 2020, signify by saying yes. Roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Any other items of new business? Anyone would like to present? Seeing none, we're going to enter now into community input. Now's your time to come to the stage and state your name, address, and your business. Jay O'Neill. I got you.
So, since we've had nothing from Mr. Hooper and heard nothing from the city, I hired a contractor to bring some 5-foot rocks. I'm going to line the side of my house to keep the traffic off my water line. This is the 4th time I've had to fix that water line from someone running over it for big rigs going down a 13-foot wide street. So I just want to let the city know I'm doing this.
This is on Russell Road?
Russell Road.
Okay, that's not in the city, correct?
In the city's jurisdiction.
Okay.
And since the on my property on the weekend, I'm going to line the other side of the road with rocks and move the trucks out of my yard. The second item I have, I'm building my last house in Cabot in Greystone. The house is sold. This last week, the buyers were doing their walkthrough, and we had a city inspector up there doing his CO. He called to tell me he was not going to issue a CO until I washed the street again. And I went down to Magnus Creek and washed a driveway and that street again. I've already made a deal with the man in Magnus Creek. It's white sand, by the way, that was on his driveway. He agreed he would take care of it. I reimbursed him and gave him a gift on top of that. But I was told by Monty I would not receive a certificate of occupancy until I washed Wellington. I personally, after the sod was laid on that house, had a backpack blower and cleaned the entire front of that street. Now, we've had some issues with that yard. I got a bad load of sod. We had a rainstorm come in. Dirt work was done the night before the sod was laid. They tried to grade it, laid the sod, ended up killing half the sod. I'm going to replace that yard for these people. He also told them there was water eroding underneath the home. That's not true. He also told the people that I needed French drains. I want to see his engineering degree to tell them that I need French drains on a hill. And he also told them that my guttering was washing out the neighbor's yard, who is a Little Rock police officer. There is no grass on that yard. There never has been since I started the house. And I'm not going to sod the man's yard, and I'm not going to put dirt in the yard. So I just want to let y'all know, if I don't get my certificate of occupancy doing the other items that need to be done, I'll be back to see you. Because I've done everything in my power, scared my buyers. I've already told them we don't need French drains. I've already called an engineer about that. All we need to do is redirect the gutter. But where the water goes, my grass on that side of the house is doing fine. And it has not eroded anything else on the next door neighbor's yard. It's all rock anyway. His privacy fence is actually not even on the property line. His fence is on his side of the property line. So I've got about a foot of his rock that shows to be on my yard. But there's no point putting up another fence next to his fence. So I'm a little concerned with somebody that has the ability to talk to my buyers and make recommendations to them. And to be perfectly honest, I'm mad. And I've had enough with the city inspectors. And you've lost 2 more builders in this town. And this is the last house I'm building in Cabot, Arkansas. Now my son has volunteered to move back up here and take another one of my companies and use my license and build. But not in Cabot, Arkansas.
Thank you, Jay. I'll get with you tomorrow. Yes, sir. Anyone else from the public? Right there in the back. Yes, sir.
Forgive me for being late. I was trying to be home and watch on YouTube. But I have a question for council. Did any of y'all receive a call from someone that represents CPAC on another fashion? The Chamber of Commerce decision thing? No one called to do that? So I'm trying to figure out, like, here's the word cronyism. That's what I think I heard on YouTube, but I could be mistaken why we have a representative of CPAC that is so against the chamber, yet the artists that they're paying to come in and do their job is now here making accusations of what she believes to be cronyism, which by its very definition could be portrayed as this. I don't understand it. It kind of seems as if there's a rift between CPAC and the Chamber of Commerce. I know the Chamber of Commerce had a design done on putting the youth office that was donated for free. I think that creates some heartburn. So I think I need to take that into consideration when I make that decision. That there seems to be a rift. That's why you have members of CPAC here speaking so vehemently against that of the Chamber of Commerce. That's all. If I may. Correct?
I'm simply stating what I believe. My council members, that's what you guys are here for, is to take those ideas to you. We present with passion, and you either say you like them or you don't. You vote for them or you don't. I appreciate you guys hearing a different voice tonight. And at the very least, whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it, you heard enough opposition to say it needs time, it needs more talk. And that's the change that we need. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, go up.
Can you hear me? I wanted to say something earlier, but I didn't think it was germane because so many years have passed. Oh, you can't? Okay. Damon's gone, hard of hearing since I first met him. There was a time when I owned a web design company, and I was a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And some of you might remember a lady named Billy. It's been a long time. And the Chamber of Commerce asked me and my business partner if we would consider doing a website. And we started, giving them advice, telling them don't get a subscription website. We quoted them an outstanding price. And they ended up using a company that's not even in the state of Arkansas. I think it's called ChamberLink or something like that. So that was my first experience with the Chamber of Commerce. And I do think that, if people would have known the price difference between what we were offering, which was comparable, and that Chamber web link, they would have been mad that that money was wasted. The other thing, is, the Chamber of Commerce friend or foe. I don't know if you guys know about Act 921 that was signed in 2015 in the legislature. Basically, it has to do with non-competes. If any of you have a non-compete, Arkansas became a blue penciling law or state, which means an employer does not have to write a non-compete that is germane or relevant to your position. They can say that you can never sell XYZ product. I saw Gregory Polaris. So you can't sell motorcycles in the state of Arkansas, for 30 years. And it stands until you go to the court and the judge marks it out. Well, I ended up in Tim Lemon's office because I was mad about it. And I asked, who came up with this idea? Well, one of the people that came up with it, I believe it was Huckabee's youngest son, and it was also the Chamber of Commerce. Now, blue penciling laws, when you reduce employee mobility, if I can't go take a better job someplace else because I'm going to get sued, I got to go to court, what that does statewide is it degrades the income. So, all those people, I don't know them, so I didn't think it was fair to say any of this, while they were, going back and forth. But I can understand why people are suspicious. I feel like I've gotten bitten twice, So, with that, I appreciate y'all listening to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah? Okay, I'll get you next. Kit? Sorry, buddy. I'll let you go next.
I didn't catch your name when you came up. Hey, Nick. I thought it was you. You know me. And you know Cabot. You know how it's always been. We grew up here. We've seen it. Our parents have seen it. I want to avoid the old Cabot moving forward. I want to see progress and great things for this community. I don't want to see, I did something for my buddy, so do something for me. So that's why I'm up here, because I did learn something this week where there was a council member who has done something unethical recently and is still engaged in something that I find unmoral. So that's why I suddenly am concerned, because this person is engaging in something that is not okay. And so it makes me suspicious about everything that that person is in support of from here on out. So that's where the cronyism comment has come in. And you know me. You know me, Nick. And we can do better than what happened previously to us in this community. And I know that you are as passionate about it as anybody else. So I just wanted to address that and make you feel better.
Jay.
Extension of Wellington, the last phase, this is another, the last phase of that street. There are rock and gravel on that street now because they have been building the road. There's also a dumpster on their property that has mud on the street in front of my house. I've got pictures of this, and I'm sure the inspector does too. I just want to make it perfectly clear. I don't mind cleaning up my mess. I did. I cleaned it up. But I'm not going to go around and clean up other people's mess. But they're the one responsible. And I'm the one that granted them the easement so they could even have that subdivision. So I just want to make it perfectly clear. I don't mind cleaning my dirt at my jobs. But I'm not the street sweeper for Wellington. Thank you very much for listening to me. I know I've been a little bit, but
Yeah, it's okay. That's why we're here.
I'm done now.
Okay. I'll call you tomorrow, like I said. Okay. Anyone else? Motion to adjourn? No. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, Mayor, if you had any updates on the Kroger property.
Okay, the latest I know of, and Amy's not here, and maybe the chamber may know, the latest I've been told is that they're working what they're doing is they're letting their contractor look at the Crown building, the old Crown building, and they're going to do it in phases, which they've talked to us about. Phase 1 will be this, phase 2 will be this, phase 3 will be this, and they're trying to get the prices from the contractor. And, you know, with COVID right now, if any one of you out here is doing any construction work with Jay could say whatever. I've done a little model bathroom at my house in 52 days and still don't have a window we ordered 52 days ago. So it's been rough on contractors. So I'm assuming, I don't know, that they're waiting on the price and what it's going to cost to do it because costs have escalated.
Okay, thank you.
But that's all I know.
Okay.
Unless somebody from the chamber, are they still here? Gina, do you know anything on Crown Metal Building? Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I got a motion from Kevin, a second from Damon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, 9:18. Thanks everybody for coming.